crying little.
Yoga.
Mr. Trump is a racist. The country has seen Mr. Trump court white supremacists and bigots. You have heard him call poorer countries shitholes. Is private. In private, he is even worse. He once asked me if I could name a country run by a black person that wasn't a shithole. This was when Barack Obama was president of the United States. And while we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. And he told me that black people would never vote for him because they were too stupid. And yet, I continued to work for him. Mr. Trump is a cheat. As previously stated, I am giving to the committee today 3 years of Mr. Trump's personal financial statements from 2011, 2012, and 2013, which he gave to Deutsche Bank to inquire about a loan to buy the Buffalo Bills and to Forbes. These are exhibits 1A, 1B, and 1C to my testimony. It was my experience that Mr. Trump inflated his total assets when it served his purposes, such as trying to be listed amongst the wealthiest people in Forbes, and deflated his assets to reduce his real estate taxes. I'm sharing with you 2 newspaper articles, side by side, that are examples of Mr. Trump inflating and deflating his assets, as I said, to suit his financial interests. These are exhibit 2 to my testimony. And to offer the American people what I know about President Trump. I recognize that some of you may doubt and attack me on my credibility. It is for this reason that I have incorporated into this opening statement documents that are irrefutable and demonstrate that the information you will hear is accurate and truthful. Never in a million years did I imagine, when I accepted a job in 2007 to work for Donald Trump, that he would one day run for the presidency, to launch a campaign on a platform of hate and intolerance, and actively win. I regret the day I said yes to Mr. Trump. I regret all the help and support I gave him along the way. I am ashamed of my own failings and publicly accepted responsibility for them by pleading guilty in the Southern District of New York. I am ashamed of my weakness and my misplaced loyalty, of the things I did for Mr. Trump in an effort to protect and promote him. I am ashamed that I chose to take part in concealing Mr. Trump's illicit acts rather than listening to my own conscience. I am ashamed because I know what Mr. Trump is. He is a racist, he is a con man, and he is a cheat. He was a presidential candidate who knew that Roger Stone was talking with Julian Assange about a WikiLeaks drop on Democratic National Committee emails. I will explain each in a few moments.
Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about Michael Cohen and his testimony. I did listen to a lot of his testimony and everything that he said. What he said is of no surprise. It should be of no shock. And I believe the most disgusting thing about this is the fact that a lot of the Republican members were trying their damnedest to defend the actions of Trump. They were trying to paint him as a choir boy, even after the whole grab him by the pussy statement. And they were attacking Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen was a side puppet. I mean, he was being paid. I'm sure he was getting opportunities and he was getting, things that he wanted. I'm not going to sit up here and act like, Michael Cohen is some benevolent person who realized they were doing wrong. Of course not. Of course he kept a chip in his side pocket. Of course he is going to sing like a canary when he is in trouble and facing so much trouble. And he knew he would. But to sit here and act like this man just took money out of his own account to pay for some woman, and it wasn't affiliated with Trump when he was getting payments back from Trump is ludicrous. To ignore the statements, the business practices. This man is a con artist. He is a racist. He is a liar. And he's a con artist. That's what he is. I mean, he fits in well in politics. A lot of them that are sitting there are con artists and liars. And there was a statement he made, and he talked about Donald Trump's character and who he was. And to me, it hit me that, what he's describing about Donald Trump encompasses this whole nation. So Trump is rightfully so in the Oval Office because he is a manifestation and representation of everything this nation stands for, and is. How they, people tell kids to tell the truth and to be honest, but as you can see, all of these people who have amassed these massive amounts of wealth, property, they do it underhandedly. These people are not self-made. These people are thieves on the larger scale and on the smaller scale. I mean, you can look at a Donald Trump or you can look at any business person. There are people who have been harmed by their business practices. Like, you can look at the Koch brothers, how much harm they have done. And you can look at someone like the Kardashians. Oh my goodness. I hate bringing them up, but what did they do? They stole from, black women. I mean, Kylie Jenner stole her friend Jordan Wood's face. I mean, this is what they do. They are not inventive. They are not smart. They do not have high IQs. They are not creative. They are aggressive and mischievous thieves. They lie well. It's an art. And they know how to play the system. Of course, that was set up for them to win every time. I mean, of course you're going to win if it's set up for you to win. But what's really interesting about all of this is that, everybody is talking about this man's meeting with North Korea. That was just something to cover up the testimony that is going on. And I believe there's more to come. There is more that's going to come out other than, his financial statements that were shown, the payments to women, and everything else that he has been doing. With the fact that people have filed their taxes and they're not getting a tax return, or they are owing so much more in taxes. And these are the very people that voted this man into office. I think it's hilarious. I think it's funny. But what's not funny is some of the people who are getting swept into this, the ones who rely on that money and they can least afford it. But a lot of the ones who voted this guy in, you know, how he talked about being tough on immigration and adjusting the tax law. He's done everything he's done. Now they're mad because it's affecting their pockets and, you know, they don't have this extra money. I don't see him surviving. The only way that he survives is that there is a Democratic candidate that cannot get all the votes. With the ADOS movement, you know, a lot of people are not moved by the Democratic Party at all and are willing to sit out, and I'm one of them. I do not feel like wasting my time. If you don't have an agenda to me, I'm not going to, you know, waste my time dealing with voting. And, you know, some people miss work. That's money out of their pockets. There's no way. You know, just sitting there listening to everything, you know, the house of cards, it's coming down. You know, a lot of people are going to be exposed. A lot of things are going to be exposed, and it's a lot more to come. But I'll go ahead and leave it right here. Let me know what you think about Michael Cohen and his testimony. Let me know what you think about Trump and all his dealings, and I will see you in the next one.